He built her a wedding dress, placed her in his bed, and for 7 years, he lived with her, talked to her, slept beside her, loved her. There was just one problem. She was already dead. This isn't fiction. This is Carl Tanzler, and what he did will change how you think about love, grief, and madness. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about a man who didn't just fall in love. He fell so deep, he lost his grip on reality. Carl Tanzler was a German, born radiology technician working in a hospital in Florida back in the 1930s. He was smart, polite, a bit odd maybe, but no one could have guessed what was going on in his mind. He used to tell people that he had visions. He believed a dead ancestor came to him in dreams, showing him the face of his destined love, a woman with dark hair and haunting beauty. Then one day, he saw her, not in a dream, in real life. A patient. Her name was Maria Elena Milagro de Hoyos. She was just 22, Cuban-American, bright, kind, full of life. But she was dying. Tuberculosis. No cure back then. Carl was assigned to treat her, and it was instant. He became obsessed. He brought her gifts, jewelry, flowers, love letters, even tried crazy, unapproved treatments to save her life. He wasn't a doctor, but he acted like one. And despite everything he tried, she passed away. October 25th, 1931. Most people would mourn, bury, and eventually move on. Carl did something else. He paid for her funeral, built her a private mausoleum, visited her every night. He'd sit there for hours, just talking to her, alone, in the dark, for 2 years. Then, suddenly, he stopped visiting, but not because he moved on, because he brought her home. Yes, he stole her body, carried it out of the mausoleum in a toy wagon, and snuck it into his house. What he did next is almost beyond belief. He preserved her body using plaster, wax, and silk, reconstructed her face with glass eyes, wired her bones with coat hangers, stuffed her chest with rags to keep her shape, sprayed her with perfume to cover the smell. He dressed her in a wedding gown, laid her in his bed, slept beside her, talked to her, played music for her. For 7 years. He treated her like a living wife. He told neighbors he was building a life-size statue. No one questioned it, because Florida. One day, a rumor reached Elena's family that Carl was keeping something strange in his house. Her sister went to check. She walked into his home and found what looked like a life-size doll sitting in a rocking chair. But it wasn't a doll. It was Elena. The body was removed. Forensic experts confirmed the horror. Carl Tanzler was arrested. But here's where it gets even weirder. He wasn't charged with murder, just with malicious destruction of a grave, and even more shocking, the public was divided. Some people called it a twisted love story. Some felt sorry for him. Carl never expressed guilt. In fact, he said, "I intended to marry her, whether she was dead or alive." This wasn't just a crime. It was the collapse of a human mind. Let's break it down. Erotomania. a rare disorder where someone truly believes another person is in love with them, even if there's no evidence. Carl convinced himself that Eleanor loved him back. There's no sign she ever did, but to him, it was real. Thanatophilia, an attraction to death, not in a horror sense, but romanticizing it. Carl didn't fear death. He tried to make it beautiful. Identity fusion. Carl didn't just love Eleanor. He fused his identity with hers. She became part of who he was. Without her, he didn't exist. Delusional grief. Some people lose someone and never come back from it. They don't just deny the death, they erase it. Carl didn't believe she was still alive. He created a world where she never died. A 2014 study in the Journal of Abnormal Psychology found that people who suffer from complicated grief often experience emotional hallucinations, even build daily routines as if the person is still alive. Carl didn't imagine it. He built it, literally. This wasn't hate. It wasn't violence. It was love. But love that had gone off the rails. He didn't love Eleanor, the person. He loved the idea of her, the symbol of beauty, of youth, of something eternal. And when reality took her away, he decided he'd rather live in a fantasy. We all crave love that never dies, but sometimes, when we can't let go, we stop loving the person and start loving the ghost of who they were. Carl's story is terrifying, not because of what he did, but because of why he did it. It's a reminder that love without limits can become something else entirely: control, obsession, delusion. And that's what we learn today. Love needs boundaries, grief needs healing, and reality always wins in the end. But wait, the story doesn't quite end there. After his arrest, Carl wasn't sent to prison. The charges were dropped because the statute of limitations had run out. He walked free. And what did he do? He moved to a small home in Zephyr Hills, Florida. Quiet, isolated, alone, but not entirely alone. Because Carl wasn't finished. Using a death mask he had secretly made of Eleanor's face, he crafted a new version of her, another life-sized doll. And he lived with it, just like before. Neighbors say he talked to her, played music for her, celebrated anniversaries. He spent the rest of his life not moving on, but staying lost. On July 3rd, 1952, Carl Tanzler was found dead on the floor of his home. Aged 75, next to a woman-shaped figure in a wedding dress. Some say he died holding her hand. Others say the body was just wax. But either way, he died in love or in delusion, maybe both. And that is the terrifying truth of Carl Tanzler. Let us know in the comments, where do you draw the line between devotion and madness? And don't forget to subscribe, because the next story might be even darker than this one.